Welcome back to the channel. John here. It's time to start building our dreams, and that's truly what we're doing with the Jeep Gladiator Project Rampage. Behind me you'll see Big Red, which is our 2006 5.9 liter Cummins diesel mega cab. We took her a long way, but she is a workhorse, and we've done a lot of videos with her. She hauls a tractor, hauls the trailers, and everything else. Rampage is more of the cross-country overland build. We recently upgraded from our 2021 Gladiator Ruby to our 2023 EcoDiesel Gladiator because it's the last year of the EcoDiesels. That's why I didn't wait till 2024 and we pulled the trigger, because the fuel mileage on this is double what I was getting with the suspension and everything else on the EcoDiesel compared to the white Rubicon manual. So we had the Snorkel with the pre-cleaner. If you go back and watch the last video we did with Isaac from Snorkel Upgrade, that video shows how dirty and unprotected your air filter is without a pre-cleaner. So the new AEV Snorkel right here behind me actually comes with a pre-cleaner. It comes with a different model pre-cleaner, so I couldn't simply reuse that one. But we'll take a look at this and we're gonna show you guys a way to install this. For early access, check us out over on TikTok and Instagram, and roll the video. Hold on. I did not get to do an install video on my 2021 Jeep Gladiator. I think I knocked it out in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's a quick process. Basically, you're going to pull and modify your air box. You're going to mount the Snorkel to the body. You're going to align some spots where you're going to drill into your window frame. But more importantly, you got to cut a big hole in the hood, and it's always good to start with cutting the hole. So if you are nervous about this project, I'm telling you the template AEV uses is spot on and it bolts right up. So what we'll do first, just like we marked everything and when we did the lift kit, painter's tape. That is the secret. It will not ruin your finish, and it will also keep paint from chipping and peeling wherever you cut. So I always use painter's tape whenever I'm doing one of these projects with the Snorkel, because what you don't want to happen is, you know, a hole saw bit can walk if the center hole isn't lined up. So having painter's tape is a good thing. And another tip, I usually pop the hood and put a couple blocks of wood under here so that I'm not worried about anything else behind this. And we'll go through that process. First thing we're gonna do, install some painter's tape, and the measurement is about 21 inches from the back to the template. So we'll have to cut out the template, put that on, and we'll go from there. But we're gonna start off with some painter's tape, then I'll show you what's in the box. We're just gonna open the hood, and then I'm gonna take a roll of paper towels and some wood and stick underneath the hood so that we can take and do this. So it's a little bit warm today. I know some of y'all still have like 6 feet of snow, but we're just gonna set this up here along with some paper towels and just let it rest. And what that does is, see all this stuff back here, it's going to help us, one, see where our template marks are, and then it'll also keep us from, you know, doing too much. So we're just going to prep this with some painter's tape real quick, and then we'll come back over the top with the template. Any cutoff tools or bits you use, they're going to go right through this painter's tape, and it's not going to cause any problems. So leave a little bit excess there. It usually comes right through the middle of the U and the B, so we'll go from the R to the I. This will also not remove your decals, so that's why I like the painter's tape. And the other thing is, I've had to have some special touch-up paint made. Apparently there's a shortage of Sarge Green touch-up paint because I had to get a special bottle made. And we're just gonna do a few rows here, and then we're gonna open up the box and show you guys what's inside the box. Hi guys, so one thing I do like to use is a DeWalt tape measure, simply because it's got your fractions on here. So here's the box you get from AEV. It is super light. We're using our Defiance tool knife here. In case you're curious what kind of knife that is. It's a pretty handy knife. I picked this up at an Overland Expo East. And again, thanks to Nate and the AEV team. AEV makes high quality, high-end products, and I'm so glad that Nate hooked me up with this. And I love their snorkels. They're a cool design. If it's my favorite picks, it's AEV. ARB makes a great snorkel too, or the Mopar snorkel. If I was gonna do a snorkel again, AEV is the way to go. All right guys, let's see what's in the box here. So you've got the intake elbow right here on top, and you have a parts box with all the hardware you need. So there's that. And then you have, with the diesel, the Sy-Klone. So a lot like the one we had on Ruby. It has the spinning rotor blades in here. Let you guys see that, just like Isaac showed us. And so that's gonna spin. It's got the stops here so that it actually stops. And what this is going to do is it's going to suck in air through the vanes here. It's going to go into a Sy-Klone. All the larger debris is going to get spit out this hole, and you're going to have this at the 6 to 7 position. So if facing the camera is 12, 6 to 7 is kind of this angle right here. And so that's exactly how we're going to mount this one. And so that's pretty much it. Again, this is the 9001R. I'll go grab the other one. We'll take a quick look at the two and see if there's any real major differences. All right guys, so just to do a quick comparison. This is the 9001R pre-cleaner that's made by Sy-Klone International, and this piece is a critical part on the diesel engine. The ram air, talking with AEV, and really produces too much airflow and also sucks in bugs and other things that you don't want in your intake. So when we did the install on Ruby, and like we said, we're using Ruby as a baseline, I wanted to make sure I used the same stuff that we had before, that it was tested and performed phenomenally. So we went with AEV and their snorkel system and the Sy-Klone pre-cleaner, which is a standard option now on the diesels. With the ram air, Nate told me it was getting too much air, and we just gotta let the EcoDiesel, you know, suck in as much air as it needs. With the turbocharger and everything, it's getting plenty of air. The only difference I really see is the vane design in these two units. So very similar on the size, height and width, all looks about the same, but the vane pattern on the new version is not as pronounced, or it's not like an airplane wing like it is on the gas models. My best guess is because of the smaller engine displacement and less air moved in, they have to have a more pronounced vane to basically use the intake air to spin the debris. On the larger displacement vehicles and turbocharged vehicles, they don't need as much of a pronounced vane in order to do its job. So that's the real main difference. So we'll set that to the side, we'll open up the AEV box, and we'll get the snorkel installed. So we've got our Sy-Klone, set that to the side here, make sure we got the right one. And yeah, this is the 9001R, which goes on this vehicle. And then let's take a look at what we've got in the part box. This shipping tape these days is not going to get lost in the mail, that's for sure. So the companies that spend the extra money to get these, they're doing you a huge favor. And hopefully inside here will be a template. So inside the box, you've got paper, you've got a snorkel head and rivet kit, which you need. You got some basic instructions and the template design right here, which you're going to do some arts and crafts on the hood to install that. Down in here, you've got your front bracket, which is a little bracket. You've got your A-pillar bracket here, which will get mounted to the snorkel and be a guide, because you do have to drill 4 holes for riveting this on. And then you've got your fender mount bracket. And then this is your hood enclosure here. So under this side of the snorkel, it's a little windy out here today. And as you can see on the snorkel here, it says made in the USA. So this is roto-molded in the USA by an American company. So you know you're getting quality with the AEV Snorkel. So just to quickly talk you through kind of where everything goes, this will get mounted to your hood. and kind of go down over. This bracket here goes underneath, mounts to your fender. This little bracket here goes on your fender as well, and there's a rivet on the front, so you'll mount that to the front of the snorkel. And then this is a windshield bracket, which will get bolted on up here, wrap around your A-pillar. So the curve's going to go in, and you're going to mark your holes, and you're going to drill in your A-pillar. So it's a pretty straightforward process, so don't be nervous if you're getting ready to install a snorkel. They've done a lot of the work for you. The hardest part is cutting the template, and once you get the template cut, it's going to do a lot better, and you're going to feel good about your project once you get this in there. So we're going to go do some arts and crafts and get this thing mounted on the Jeep and start installing it. All right guys, so we're going to double check our measurement here, and we're going to come back 21 1/4. So at 21 is where we marked it. We're going to come back another 1/4 of an inch right here. And if you have a hard time reading a tape measure, DeWalt's the way to go. See, there's 21 1/4. It shows you that it lines up with this line. Now we've come back to our 21 1/4, and we're right on that line with our template. There's that. This side needs to come down just a smidge like that. So we can take and tape right here. And we're going to tape right here. And that's just to get us started. And then we're just going to take and we're going to trace around our template. So you're going to cut inside of the line here. Come down with our template some, where our tangent is. And you can always adjust. When in doubt, you can cut less, and you can go back, and you can open up your hole. Here I'm just having a little bit of a challenge with the edge of the tape. Just trying to make sure I get a good line. Did we mark this side already? No. Come over here, mark this side. And you know, if you want to draw on your template, you can. Kind of like spray painting it. So there's that. And we can leave that on. And we can leave this here. Now on the back side of the hood, and we'll open the hood up all the way now. What I want to show you on the back side here is you just kind of wrap this around like that, and all this is going to come out. And you may have to do some trimming on the back side too. So you just kind of hold this down here like such. Nobody's ever going to see that side, but that way when you start cutting your template here, you can see we're going to have to trim this a little bit for intake. And there we go. All right guys, so we're going to double check our measurement here. And I said 5 1/4 here, which is where we're at from this seam, this outer seam. It's easiest to just measure from the back of the hood, which is 21 1/4 down at the point down here. Again, it's got a big cover that's going to cover this, so if you need to come up and open this up some, you can. Biggest thing is cut inside the lines to start with. One thing we're going to make sure we do is use a center punch. So we're just going to line up our spring-loaded center punch. There's our mark for that one. Line up our spring-loaded center punch, center of this one. And we got our center punch going. And that's going to prevent our blade from walking. Now these things here can be a real pain. So this is just a cheap Harbor Freight version. I'm sure if you get a Milwaukee version, it's going to do a lot better. And if we have too much problems with this, we're going to take and we will pull out the DeWalt. All right guys, so we grabbed our DeWalt drill here. All right, there's all that. Ooh, that's toasty. We're gonna leave that right there. As you can see, that one's walked. We're gonna pilot drill this one. So we're back with our can cut drill bits. These things are gonna slice right through this, so I'm not too worried. And these things don't walk, unlike other drill bits. I should have pre-drilled this. There we go. A little high still, but it'll be okay. And we're gonna angle it down just a little bit. All right, now we can go get our hole saw. And we're just gonna angle it down. Voila. Here we're gonna use the hacksaw. Make sure we don't hit anything important in there. Guess we could come up a little bit. Make sure again there's nothing back there that you're going to hit with your blade. Just trim right on the paper. Okay, there's the bottom. Now in here, again, we're going to be careful. I don't think we're hitting anything on the backside, which is good. There's that. Now we just got to come back with the backside here. Trim that. You want to be careful of that, so take your time. Voila. Alright guys, so we did a little test fit here. I think the same thing happened to me last time. So if you try to put this all the way up flush, it's good on the outside edge, but as you can see, we still have quite a bit more we need to take off on the inside. So we need to do some more trimming, it looks like. We need to trim all this a little bit more. And so for this, I'm just going to take the Sawzall, and we're going to use the Sawzall a little bit more because I really don't like how that is. All right, try another fit. That side's good. Where are we binding up now? We could open that just a smidge. Open that a little bit more. 2 cuts. Sometimes it takes a little bit of work. Alright guys, so we got our hole cut and it's pretty good right now. So slide that on. You know, it's not quite up as high, but we want a good tight fit. So even with the last one, we had a little bit of a gap on this end. And when we push that end up, it's plastic, so it'll form around and it'll be a nice tight seal when it closes down on the snorkel. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to take a shop vac, clean up all this drill shavings, and then we'll get started on the A-pillar. And the lesson we learned this time is we're definitely going to use the can cut drill bits on the A-frame, because those other drill bits are garbage. Once you use the can cuts, you can't go back. Alright guys, so I like to get the tedious part out of the way. The next few steps are going to be pretty easy. And pull the air box out. It's 10mm bolts. Undo that, pop it out, and then we'll take and we'll connect it to the snorkel, come back and fit everything in. Right now would be a great time to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, ring the bell so you get the notifications if you like today's video. Thanks for watching. So in order to pull this out, there's a clip right here. I want it upside down, so you kind of just put a pick in there, pull that tab back, and that mass airflow sensor connection comes out. I don't want to remove the mass airflow sensor because it's mounted in there. Over here, this little plastic piece, there's a place in the middle that goes over this, and this little interesting like C-clamp thing goes on there. That slides off, and then you got one 10mm right here. You pull that out, and then you can lift out your entire air box. So we're going to come over here because we're going to have to do some surgery on the box in order to make the snorkel work. All right guys, so what we're going to do now is break apart this box. We should be able to take these two loose. Now, should be able to separate the box. There's the top. Take our air filter out, and that's a clean side, so make sure we pull that out. And we've only put 2,000 miles on the Jeep, but look, there's already debris in the box. This Jeep's got less than 2,000 miles and we haven't been off-road. So that's why I recommend the Snorkel, guys. All right, down here in the box, looks like we've got a Torx bit here. We'll have to get a Torx bit, take that out, but we're actually gonna cut that tab, but we'll take it loose now with a Torx bit. We're gonna use this T30 here. And this thing is fast. Take out that T30. That gets that loose. Now we just gotta work this out here. And we can take this rubber piece off. All right, so that clips on. So when you look at this end of the snorkel, it's going to ride like this on the side of the Jeep. And then this part here, which is full of metal shavings, we'll blow that out real quick. But when you look down in there, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but see all that light shining through? That's not necessarily a good thing. So what you can do is you can tape that or silicone those holes, and those are drain holes. So as you can see, this end here is going to catch water. This one here is kind of draining. This one down here is a good drain hole, but in the very, very bottom, you have these drain holes here naturally. So what we may do is we may fill this up, and fill these, just so we don't have any leaks in the future. And they say you can take and just, you know, clip this on, put your snorkel through, but you got to trim this tab. So we're going to take and we're going to trim this tab real quick because it's not needed where the snorkel is. Use our cutoff tool and we're going to cut this piece off. So it should be pretty easy and quick. Cut that off. And just make it nice and pretty. go blow it out. So having an air compressor helps too, so you can blow all this stuff out. That's just going to go on like that. It's going to slide in and lock. But if you look around the edge here, it's not watertight. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of RTV to fill these gaps. You could also use silicone around here, but once you mount this, and then we're going to do that at the end, because we got to put our bolts in and drill our A-frame, and we got to connect these brackets here. We'll come back and we'll silicone this box up, let it cure overnight, and then it'll be good to go. So all we're going to do here is we're going to drop the box back in and see if we can line up the tabs on the bottom. Let that rest up on the mirror. All right, there's that. So that's all gonna fit. Let's go put our brackets on real quick. All right guys, so in our box, we've got the bracket that's gonna go on the fender here. We got the bracket that's gonna go on the windshield. And we're gonna put those on loosely. And all your bolts are in here, and they're hex bolts. Went and found our socket, and this one is a 5/32. So that will work there. And we're just gonna run these down till they stop. So this bracket's got a little angle here, and that's going to go on your windshield screen. So we're going to put it on like this, so the curve is out. And these, you're not going to want tight. You're just going to want to snug them up until you mark, so we can put our tape and mark our holes. So we're going to have to take these two 10 millimeters loose right now. We'll take this one loose later. Two back here loose. And so if your Jeep has brand new shiny paint on it, you can do these by hand. And they're just short little bolts. Make sure you don't lose those. Okay, there's those two. Let's go grab the snorkel. You're gonna go down with this part inside the engine bay. You can go here with this part. This is where those screws are. So you can just put those screws back in there loosely. You're not cranking anything down at this time. And so that's going to go over there. And while we've got that, we're going to take, while it's loose, we're going to put some painter's tape right up here on the A-frame underneath where we're going to mark and drill. So there's a piece there. There's a piece there. And we're going to move this bracket over here to where it touches. And so the box will go down and everything else. But we're going to get that, push that in snug. Hole there, and then we'll take that bracket off and we'll mark the rest of the holes. That one there, that one there, that one there, and that one there. All right, now what we're going to do is center punch those holes. We'll be using the can cut drill bits when we do this, so it'll be a nice, clean, fast cut. What we want to do though is make sure we don't go in too deep or too far, and you want to kind of contour to the natural body line when you go in, and that will make your rivets sit flush. So if you ever get confused which rivets to use, your big rivets go to the top here and go through that plate. They go through these holes, and that's what holds it to the windscreen. These are actually a little bit smaller rivets, so there's like 3 different sizes of rivets in the kit. What we're going to do for each drill bit we use, we're going to measure this collar because we want this to go in nice and tight, and then we will get a drill bit that's the right size instead of just going off of the numbers in the kit. That's the way I like to do it, to double check. This is just a cheap plastic one, a couple bucks from Harbor Freight. And all you're going to do is you're going to take your calipers here where it's indented. You're going to measure down to that part, so 0.19 there. Open up your can cut drill bit set, and this thing is awesome. These are professional quality drill bits. You go a little bit bigger than that, a little bit bigger than that. That's too big. And so right here, that one's a little bit big there. I think we'll use this one. So that's going to be a good tight fit right there. And so this bit is a 11/64. You could do 3/16 if you wanted. I like the way this is here on the shank, and so that will that's going to get us dang close. And the nice thing about the can cut bits is they've got a zero walk. But even though they got zero walk, I'm still going to use a center punch. And you don't have to do this with the can cut drill bits, but you're just going to find the center of the hole, go into the body. And you want to make sure you don't do that on any glass. Center of the hole, center of the hole, and center of the hole. All right. Double check, triple check, however many checks you got to do. And I think that's going to be about perfect. I love the M12s because they just are super easy. Normally you would step this up, but you don't have to with the can cut drill bits. And it's just fast. All right, you don't want to go too far in. You just want to go through that first layer or two. All right. We're going to check our holes. Should be a nice tight fit. Oh no, I'm gonna have to go a little bit larger. All right, so we'll go a little bit larger. One more size, and we're gonna stop there. And let the drill bit do the work. Now those rivets should just drop right in. Not too loose, not too tight. They'll expand out once you get them riveted in. And then check out this. I bet you these holes are really clean. Look at that, guys. Barely gonna require any touch-up paint. Look at that. Those guys are clean cut holes. I looked all over for touch-up, and this is actually some special mix I had to get from a professional paint shop, so that is an option. They mixed me up about 4 ounces, which was about $55. This was from a chain called Finish Masters, and if you look down here, what they did is they added some air quick dry hardener so that, you know, this will dry pretty quickly. It's starting to cool off a little bit right now, and everything looks good, man. And so all we're doing here, even though this is aluminum and will never rust, you know, we're just going to protect it. The guy was telling me at the store, you just take a Q-tip like that, make sure there's no fuzz that's going to come off of it. My hands are a little bit dirty, but we're going to use that, just run in the hole a little, even the slightest amount of paint, just to put on there. So here on our rivet gun, this one's kind of cool because it comes with these different tips. And so all you're going to do is you're going to find a tip, which are conveniently located here, that's going to work with your rivets. That one's too small, that one's way too big. Over on this side, I'd say it's going to be that one. So all you do is you unscrew the one that works. Make sure you put away your other one so it'll be there. This thing has a nice little catch can, so as you end up getting rivets, your rivets go in there. This one costs a little bit more than your standard rivet gun, but I feel like it gives you more control with the two handles. Pull it all the way apart, it's going to drop. You're going to stick your rivet in here, and you're not going to pull down until you get it into the Jeep. So this can be a little bit tricky. Sorry, my back is to the camera. Just going to stick our rivet in there where it's nice and flush. Give it a little pull. All right, that's a nice clean rivet. I'm gonna do this hole here. And that bracket is strong. Punch them there off a little bit, which is okay. We'll just take and we'll open up these other holes here right next to it. And sometimes that happens. Careful when we touch these up. The guy told me make sure I don't leave the lid off, because that stuff will dry quickly. So if you ever wanted to color match your wheels or color match, you know, your fenders, you can get small batches made up and you can do, you know, little projects. And it comes with 5 rivets, 5 of the big rivets, so that way you know exactly what you're supposed to do and where. Okay, that time I pulled back on it a little bit, so yeah, that bracket's not gonna go anywhere, so looks good. So if you remember, we said we were going to seal up this box. Here we're using some Mega Black RTV. All we did there, got it so we can run a good bead all the way around. We may not be able to get everything. We'll run a good bead on the top here. Down the sides. Let me go get a pair of gloves. And you're gonna want to wait, you know, 12-24 hours before you drive your Jeep after you do this. You can definitely get the RTV caked in there, fill up some of these holes in the bottom, and it may actually be easier to do this from the outside. So we'll flip this over because we got a good seal on the inside. What we're gonna want to do is push this RTV down in there. Use your finger. Always gives it the nicest finish. Helps you fill in those gaps. Because what you don't want to do is end up in a situation where you're sitting in water for a long time. So you want to, the snorkel is there to help those deep water crossing situations. So the more water and stuff you can keep out, the better off you are. So we'll just take a couple small drops here, fill in these holes. So we'll try not to drive the Jeep for, you know, 24 hours because we don't want this all over the inside of our air box. Air will take the path of least resistance. Now this RTV's been setting up for just a little bit. Kind of navigate everything loosely into position. That'll go there, that all goes there, and then we gotta get our box down in position into the holes. So we want to make sure that that's in there, and what we can do in the meantime is we will go ahead and loosely put our bolts in, and then when we get everything into final place, we will tighten everything down. 2 10mm on the back side here. So we need to make sure this box is down where it's supposed to be. So we check our holes. I think our holes are good down there. I think that's going to be good right there. Holes are pretty well lined up back here. So let's just go ahead and start loosely putting everything together, and then we'll crank everything down once we got it all connected. Okay, there's that. We'll put our bolts up here. Take this bolt here loose. put our washer head on there. We'll have to go back and do that to the other one. And so this is just going to kind of lay over with this angled part up towards the hole. So there's that. Put the washers on here. This is definitely my favorite of my ratchets. It's not as high torque as the other one, but it definitely does a good job and it's fast. Okay, there's those. We've almost got a snorkel installed, guys. Okay, put that back in. That's why you want to leave everything loose, so you got room to get these bolts in. Make sure it's going the right way. And if you really want to, you could come back with, once we got touch-up paint, and touch these up. Okay, there's that one. That one. We did put a rag in there just to keep dust from going in. We grab the bottom side of the air box. I put that in the Jeep. Nice thing is everything's 10 millimeter. Again, this is just a paper filter. Make sure everything goes down in there really good so we get a nice good seal. And then we're going to take our cover. Got to put our end in there. And we got to get our cover down here to where our box is. Now we're just going to take and tie our bolts back down here. Gonna get an extension for this. There's one on this side. And then this one here is a royal pain. It did not give you any way to get to that front bolt. I think that's going to be good. I don't feel any gaps, so we tighten the bolts on our air box. Last thing we got to do is get this clip back into place. There we go. And so I don't think it's 100% watertight or airtight, but we'll see. And then this just clicks back on there. Then you push the bottom in and it's locked. Make sure the hole's in the right spot. And it looks like it is. Peel this off, guys. We lost a little bit of our R for Rubicon. Still got a little bit of paper and tape on the inside. But if you notice, for the most part, we don't have any issues. We have to pick that up just a little bit to peel the tape off. And this will go down here. We'll start at one side, work our way to the other. All we gotta do is find a drill bit the right size for our rivets, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so we laid out some paper towels, and then we're going to start drilling our holes here. And we'll come back, we'll touch this up real quick, and then we will take and put everything on. But we got a 1/8 inch drill bit. Looks the same as our rivets here, so we'll be using that. Here's this corner plate here. There's that end, there's that end. We're going to start up here at the front, and this will be super quick. sure we don't go through any fingers in the back. I may have to go through a little bit deeper on that. And the funnel will be a bit holy. All right, we're going to use our Pro Automotive Quality paint here. Doesn't take much. As you can see, sometimes you're not going to have a full hole. So that one will definitely get the small. Nobody will ever see that, but here, just going to take and dab along the edges, touch everything up. Okay guys, I think that's going to look pretty good. That's how you touch it up. I'm not a pro painter, I'm not a body man, but we just wanted to touch that up from around everywhere we did it. So we know we're going to need a couple long ones down here. The shorter ones can go up top because we're only going through one piece, but we definitely got to use the longer rivets down there, and that will all cure even if we put the thing on. Just going to put our rivets in first so that we know at least the bottom two. Now we can rivet this joker down. We did swap out our nozzle, so well, we're almost done. Alright guys, I think it's looking pretty good. Let's take this stuff out of the hood. Smushed our paper towels, so be okay. That looks good. That looks good. Now the last thing we've got to do is up here, we have to put the Sy-Klone on. Alright guys, so last piece is installing the Sy-Klone. If you look on the Sy-Klone here, I'll put the diagram up. This goes at the 6:30 to 7 position. So if 12 o'clock is facing straight at the camera, 6:30 or 7 is kind of back towards me and my left shoulder here. So we're going to clock that in that position, and we're going to take and tighten up this bolt. It's probably 6:30, about right there. Because what we don't want to happen is for that thing to go flying off when we go down the road, which, like that. So technically this can come off, and that's not good. So we need some filler tape, and I don't have any, so what we may use is just some good double-sided tape to fill that gap. So that tape that I'm talking about is this stuff right here. And so this is just, you know, one of those small things. I'll shoot a note to the AEV guys, but yeah, I think they should start including this because it's also going to keep dust from coming in up under, and it's just going to improve, you know, the efficiency of the Sy-Klone. Alright guys, since we don't have any filler material, what I am going to do is I'm going to try to use some Gorilla Tape, which is, you know, maybe about a 1/16 inch thick. Just put that around the top here. Run it even to the end. This is just double-sided tape. Alright. And that should give us enough filler space to not lose our Sy-Klone when we drive down the interstate. Make sure this is at the 7 o'clock position. All right. Now we're going to put our clamp on and tighten that down again. We got everything lined up. That's about the 6:30, 7 o'clock position. Okay, we don't want to overdo it, but we do want to make sure that thing is not coming off. So just having that little bit of filler in there is going to help out. And now that is not coming off. So it can get hit by a tree or whatever, and it's going to do great. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you would, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, ring the bell so you get the notifications, and keep coming back for more. This is one of the last projects we have before we go do some adventuring, and then we got another project down the road. But we're not done. So we're going to do metal cloak skids, and thanks to our sponsors over at Expedition 1, we're going to be working on the rear bumper in one of the upcoming videos. So stay tuned. If you would, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, ring that bell when you subscribe so that you get the early notifications every time I post a new video. I try to do one at least once a week. We haven't been able to nail down a time yet. Hope you guys enjoy this video, and hopefully we point out a few things, help you install your AEV Snorkel on your Jeep. If not, thanks for tuning in. Even if you're thinking about getting a Jeep Gladiator, they're a lot of fun. There's no sense in doing all this if we don't enjoy the vehicle. So we truly build our Jeeps so we can go adventure and have fun. Do you need all this? No. Again, this took me about 2.5 years to get to where we are. We had the lift tires and the racks and the tents and everything else on the white Jeep, and Gladiators are going to continue to come down in price in the used market. So if you haven't been able to get into one now, maybe you can get into one in the next year or two. I think the Gladiator is a great platform, whether you need a small pickup or if you're looking for an adventure off-road vehicle. The diesels, they are hit and miss, but don't believe everything you've heard. The manual was a great vehicle. The gas mileage was not great. With 37 stock, it did just fine. Once you start adding more weight and bigger rubber on these things, the fuel mileage does drop. I've lost about 6 miles per gallon in this thing. I was getting about between 24 and 26, and now I'm averaging between 18 and 20 in the EcoDiesel. So that's some of the trade-offs for me, though. That enables me to drive out west and almost double, you know, cut my fuel bill almost in half, even though diesel's a little bit more expensive. You guys get to come along. I get to share my dreams with you. I get to share my Jeep build with you. But the true purpose of this channel is to inform, inspire, and motivate you guys so you can get out there and start building your dreams.